So I'm in Istanbul, Turkey. I'm 10 years old. My grandmother, who wears a burqa, by the way, is sitting with me, and I start to ask her questions, as any 10-year-old would, about their ancestors. Now, my grandfather's deceased, so I want to know how they met. Like any kid would want to know how he was made and how his parents were made. And she told me this story. She was 13 years of age, and she heard that a man was coming from a different town who was interested in finding a wife. And at the time, they weren't allowed to meet each other until it was already arranged by the parents. So the man comes into the foyer. He's not allowed to see her, but she's peeking at him from behind a curtain. And she's peering open and seeing if she says, he's sort of a good-looking guy, good stature, but might be reasonable. And his mother, my grandmother's mother, goes out and says, my daughter's too young. I don't think it's right for her to get married yet. And the man is insistent. So my grandmother's mother comes back and has a discussion with her, a very open discussion, saying that this man wants to take you to a different town. I'll probably never see you again if you go with him. And there's a very interesting point here, because you've noticed I have not mentioned my grandmother's father, because he was dead. And one of the reasons my grandfather wanted to marry her is the Turkish army was mobilizing. And he'd already been mobilized several times and sent into Albania and Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia. These were territories of the Ottoman Empire at the time. This is prior to the First World War. And there was a rule that if a man was married to a woman without a father, he was allowed to stay home and take care of her.
Oh.
So it was a very savvy move to marry a woman without a father. And so they ended up meeting. And in theory, they were not supposed to talk to each other until they were actually married, and the marriage would happen in my grandfather's hometown. So he put her on a donkey. She rode behind him, with him never looking back, supposedly, across the Taurus Mountains in southern Turkey, when they went from her town of Akseki to his town of Bozkır. And she never returned to her home again. And although the trip took a couple days back in 1913, I actually drove that route in about an hour and a half.
What a great story. And you were told that when you were 10?
I was 10 years old.